personnel finance meeting is in order. One thing, road plan. And Mr. Cook, what you got a plan?
Sure.
Well, we said he's going to up it up to 80-20, local, and 20 major, right? That's what we
Yes, we did.
Okay.
So thanks again for the chance to be here, and we did take to heart what you all said last time. So we put that information into our software and ran it with an 80-20 split with local and major. And then we also looked at that concept of let's make things passable in year one.
Okay. Yeah.
So we looked at that with a solution to fill the potholes and put what we're calling a skim coat over those areas just to try to make them safe and passable. It looks like if we did all the roads that were rated poor, and you remember we went through that last time, there's a significant number of them, that we could get those, sort of a Band-Aid put on those and get them, again, passable and safe. And that likely uses up the entirety of the first year's allocation of the $1 million. So let's just do that. Let's get that set. Get us to a baseline where then we can start to work on this asset management program. But it seems like we do need to do that in order to just get ready to do the asset management program. Let's get us to a good baseline. So our intention then is to recommend to you that we do that first year. And then we basically just bump back our program a year, and we look at the only real change being the shift from 50-50 to 80-20. Going through and project selection is a cumbersome, iterative process that we just didn't have time for since we saw you last till now. But that would be our intent, would be we just bring you a revised year 2 through 4 program that's going to look a whole lot like the other one did, probably with one project different each year, switching from major to local. What the software did tell us, just interestingly, was over the 10-year plan that we were looking at, previously was have the local streets 30% good when we were done with 10 years. Switching that to 80-20 would look at about 50% of the local streets being in good shape after 10 years. So even that level of expenditure doesn't solve the problem within 10 years, but certainly gets us well on our way. Because at this point, we're about 80% poor on the local streets. So good progress with that sort of expenditure. So seems to make a lot of sense that we do that, and so that's essentially our presentation for tonight, is to say that's how things would look. And so if you all have questions, certainly willing to answer those, and otherwise we'd look to take that to commission and start to move on that program for this year.
You're saying, I'll get this clarity here. 80% poor, you're going to do all the poor streets. 80% poor.
80% of the...
I'm going to do all the...
What's that mean?
Yeah.
I guess it's skim surface. Yeah, skim surface. So making that 80%, make that 80% driving.
We would also do the major streets at the same time, those that are poor.
Poor, okay.
So in my way of thinking, the local streets are those that don't get as much traffic. We certainly want to address those that are largely in the neighborhoods. But let's say that you live on, you pick one here. A section of Broadway is a major street, but we all know that section needs it.
Yeah.
So we didn't feel like we should wait on those either.
No.
So just to clarify that that's how that would work.
pretty much all the streets that's poor.
All the ones that are
Section,
poor,
yeah.
we're planning to address,
Correct, yeah.
every last one of them.
Mr. Chris, magnetic person.
That must be it. I'll just speak real loud. Even that's getting me. I turned it off and it still wants me.
Yeah, something. I hope it's not short. Yeah.
And that'll be with a skim coat of asphalt.
And areas that needed.
So let's fill the potholes,
Mm-hmm.
and then let's put a little thin coat over the top, just to make it sort of ride a little bit nicer.
Mm-hmm.
But realize that's a short-term fix. It probably gets us through till next summer or the summer after at best, before that starts to break up again. We've talked a lot about what water does last time.
Sure.
This is gonna help keep the water out for a bit, but it's gonna be so thin that it won't last super long. But that gives us time to get in there and start to get after these. Again, maybe, you know, some of our plan is to address the reconstruction of those poor streets anyway, as part of the asset management plan. But maybe after 2 or 3 years, we feel like we gotta come back and do another one of these skim things. Hopefully by then, there's not as many to do.
Right, you won't wait till it's all in 80% is bad before you do it again.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
And potholes included, right?
Yes, yes.
Would that be done by the contractor too? The potholes will be done by the city?
It's gonna be a collaborative effort between contractors and city employees as well. Because as we talked about this kind of preliminarily, one of the things we know is that we want to get this done by the end of the construction season, if you will. And that, in order to do that, is going to take kind of all hands on deck. So what we'll do is get contractors, we'll do what we can do, contractors will do, and we'll get multiple contractors to address it. So we can just go at it and get it done.
Question is that, you know, our workers doing it, you know, I mean, will they be doing it in a manner that is, that's gonna last, I mean, other than just throwing them in the folder?
And what we can do, Commissioner, is we can just make this a contracted thing to do. And let that, for this year, be the work that gets done, and have the Public Works Department attenuate to other issues that may need to be done.
Right, like the drain.
Yep, things of that nature. Yep, drains and sweeping the streets and repairing stuff that may need to be done, which would probably be a better fix.
I think it'll be.
Yeah, a better fix going forward.
Plus it would probably help save if those drains are cleaned out, then
Yep,
to get that water out of the way and stuff.
yep, so.
The pricing that we did assumed contractor pricing.
Okay. Any questions from the public?
No, just a statement.
You come to the mic, Commissioner. It's about-
It's okay, it's okay,
It's okay?
it's okay.
It's okay today.
It's okay.
Anybody? Mr. Duncan? It's the role playing?
I'm a little late. You guys finished already? Almost finished.
Wait a minute.
What time did the meeting
Yeah.
start?
How you doing, Chris?
Good, how are you?
Hello, due chair. I just heard, City Manager Watson, we've missed quite a bit here, in a short period of time, but, I guess we were preparing something to go before the board for a vote. I just heard City Manager Watson mention something about what Public Works would do. Shouldn't they be doing that anyway?
They do, but what you have, Commissioner, is Public Works trying to do a lot of things.
Okay.
This would relieve one of the things that they do and basically allow contractors to do it. It wouldn't stop them from doing work. It's just one thing that they wouldn't be doing this year.
You can work on like drains and.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, they supposed to be doing that anyway, but are we, the work that's being contracted out, with the tax dollars, are the work that's going to be prepping and preparing and actually fixing some of the roads that need to be repaired.
Correct. Yes.
Right. So that would be something that Public Works would normally do?
That is part of what they're supposed to
Not
do.
with tax dollars though.
Yes, it would. So tax dollars can go toward helping offset the cost for those things.
Okay, I guess what I'm getting at is it, well, I guess if it's contracted out, that is creating more jobs. But I guess it would be to whom?
It would be a bid process that would be out
Okay.
for anyone to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did we discuss the percentage of,
Hire local.
Yep.
oh, okay, not only the percentage of hiring locals, but the percentage of locals as opposed to major streets?
We did.
Oh, yes.
Okay,
Yeah, 80/20.
thank you.
Just a quick rehab, so,
Yeah.
Quick question. Is there some way I can get a copy of this meeting that you guys had in 5 minutes? Because I like to know what you guys are talking about, and I can't get
Yeah,
it.
we finna go through it.
Huh?
We finna tell you.
quick rehab, it ain't gonna take long because it wasn't long.
Yeah, I understand that, but
Alright.
it's just the way it was
Okay. Alright.
over before we even
Yeah.
got in the door.
It's being
That's what I was
recorded.
trying to-
Okay. Yeah, so basically,
It's being recorded.
in quick in a nutshell, what was talked about before you got here was that we understand that, the roads are so bad, 80% of the local roads is poor.
I understand.
Oh, okay, yeah, and so the plan is, we wanted to address, making the roads, all the roads safe. So all the roads that need to be made safe is gonna be made safe by filling the potholes and also doing some, the skim coat asphalt to make all the roads safe. And then, that's gonna be done all by the contractors. Public Works will be doing, drains, cleaning out the storm drains and stuff like that. The idea is to try to keep as much water off as possible. So they can take care of that while the contractors are making all the roads safe. And then the plan is to come back in the next years and start doing the other stuff that's gonna need to be done when we talk about infrastructure and tearing up whole roads and redoing them. So, but the most important thing is making all the roads in the city safe to drive. And so that's what was talked about today.
And that's not just filling the potholes.
That's not just filling the potholes, that's filling all the potholes and then those areas that needed the, skim coat stuff, that's gonna be done, so roads will be safe.
Mr. Cook did say Broadway was on that.
Yep.
That's really not a joke.
Yeah.
And I'm not in a joke.
It's not a joke. I'm telling you, Broadway,
I'm trying to
that's
get
true.
understanding, and we wanna do like, Commissioner's seats, and I ain't trying to do that, I'm just trying to get understanding. I'd like to know if you have some kind of paperwork that I, as a citizen, could look at, that you have talked about, and if not, that's good, but I'm just trying to make sure that when this project starts, it starts in our neighborhood first of all, because it's our citizens who voted for this. And I know I don't need to remind you of that, but in this meeting, I wanted to be said, because a lot of things don't get said that should be said, and for various reasons. But we start in our community, is this part of the deal now, or we're gonna switch or not do it this way, or what? Can I get an answer to that?
We just went over how the project gonna go, 80/20.
80/20.
Local streets, we're gonna start in the city,
The city where?
local, inner city.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Duncan, for coming. Is there any kind of way we can get it like a printout or something like that you can send to the city manager or something?
Of which streets we're talking about,
Yeah,
or?
yeah.
Mhm.
And it'll be included with the resolution that'll be for Monday. Yep.
Sounds good. Thank you for coming tonight.
Sure.
Adjourned.
Thank you.